Hello, everybody. Welcome to the A Little Bit More podcast with Pastor Kevin. I'm your host, Lee, and we just celebrated the Independence Day of our great country. 250 years. So thinking back, so perspective. I talk about this a lot in my life. You know my two words, attitude and perspective. You know it. That's how I live my life, trying to filter everything through attitude and perspective. You think about the grand scheme of history, 250 years is nothing. And yet it feels like our country's been around forever. But that 250 years...
It's like the only country I've ever known.
It's the only country you've probably ever lived in.
It is.
But you think about that, that really isn't that many generations back
it's not.
in...
No, it's really not.
You know, a family lineage. And you think about
yeah.
the crazy, really crazy thing, if you study history, which I love history.
Yep.
If you didn't know that about me, history fan. Most civilizations that were prosperous and like ruled
they don't
the world
make
and
it
stuff, 250
yeah.
years is like the breaking point for a lot.
Yeah, that's
so
what
sort of humbling and maybe terrifying.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for just a second. So the World Cup, there's a couple sports I
love the World Cup.
Yeah, see, I knew it. I knew it.
I love it.
So there's a couple things I don't really care about. Baseball and soccer are two of them.
And baseball one hurts my feelings because it's wonderful.
But what I will say is those two things have amazing cultures around them.
Uh-huh.
So I don't like baseball, but I love going to baseball parks because they're awesome.
By the way, sidebar, I've just crossed off my 20th out of 30 baseball parks.
That's impressive.
2/3 of the way done.
But if you ever went to a baseball game with me, I would just talk the whole time.
You did.
Yep.
You actually heckled some of the other players.
Yes, I sure did.
In the on-deck circle.
Yeah.
And I don't get embarrassed by stuff.
But
I did put my head down and to act like I didn't know you.
Yeah. But you were sitting right beside me.
Sitting right beside you.
I went to another game not too long ago, and it was the 5th inning, and I had to embarrassingly ask, who are we playing? I didn't even know. Yeah. I just went to the game. It was a 10 caps game, but I didn't look up enough to see who we were playing.
Also, memory with you, it's the coldest baseball game I was ever at.
You're in Colorado.
Colorado Rockies.
Yeah.
And I had to cross that park off my list, so we were out there for a conference. You guys were generous enough to come along.
We didn't make it very long, though.
After 2.5 innings,
I was done.
Y'all looked down at me and said, "Does this count now? Are we done?" And
it was my birthday, though.
It was your birthday. You had to buy a hat, a beanie cap at the game because it was so cold.
For $30.
And it was snowing.
Yeah, it was the most expensive
I hope you still have that hat.
I do, but it's the most expensive cap I own.
That's a lot of sidebars today.
So I was thinking for Independence Day, being the 250th anniversary, we are as far from the start of Grable Missionary Church as they were to the birth of America.
That's math.
That is math.
Stat of the day.
Which is crazy. Like such two big anniversaries.
Oh yeah, I'm glad to go back to the whole soccer thing. The reason I brought that up is it's interesting, like how much America can get like a bad rap about things. Mm-hmm. But and maybe we've already talked about this, but it's really fascinating to watch all these videos from people in other countries coming for the World Cup.
Oh, it's amazing.
And they're talking about like Texas Roadhouse, and they're talking about all these different conveniences that America has, and they're like, everyone's so nice and kind, and they go to Texas Roadhouse, and the waitress or waiter comes up and brings them rolls, and they're like, excuse me, I didn't order these. Yeah. They're like, yeah, they're free. What do you mean by free?
Yeah.
There's free refills.
They're fantastic videos.
I think my favorite one was someone goes, not only do you have to tip, you want to tip. It's like, yeah, that's amazing.
It is
and then
epic.
Watching them all missing their AC now that they're home.
All right, yeah.
Like all the people that I've been following this one guy, and he's just been like here for the past forever.
Yeah.
And he's like, I go home.
Yeah.
And there's no AC, man.
TSA literally had to put signs up that says, if you're going to smuggle ranch into your country, put it in your checked bag.
Who knew that ranch dressing wasn't a thing around the whole world? That's that big of a deal.
Do you know why?
Loved ranch.
Do you know why they don't know about it?
I have no idea.
Because it's in the Hidden Valley.
We did dad jokes last time, Kevin.
That was funny.
I didn't laugh.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was Matt Swartz
level of
shout out,
quality.
Matt. We love you.
But yes, I love the World Cup. I love the energy, the excitement, and we're recording this because of the holiday before USA plays.
Yeah.
Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happens yet. But by the time you're watching this, the world will have known if we won or not.
By the time it actually happens, I probably still won't know who won because I haven't watched it.
Kevin, are you proud to be an American?
I
where
am.
At least you know you're free.
Oh, man.
You're going to stand up next to me?
I feel like you're quoting the song.
I am.
I know you are.
Anyway, lots going on. We are in our new sermon series here for a couple weeks now. Work is worship. It's been great. It's been a theme you've been talking about for a long time here. It's good to have a sermon series now that we're actually all going into as a church, and we're talking Colossians 2.
Yeah, Colossians 2. It's really been cool. And if you got other work stories, I want to hear them. But thank you guys for the texts, the emails, side conversations about your work. That's the cool thing is this past Sunday we talked about how work is not a product of the fall. If I could just, there's a few things that I wish if I had the opportunity to tell every believer in the world, that would be one of them. Now there's other things I would want everyone to know, but that's one of them is many of us think that work is a product of the fall. Now the toil, the sweat on the brow, the pain, all those things.
But my favorite job I think ever I've heard of in the world is God's job he gave Adam of naming the animals.
Yes. Yeah.
That is fascinating to me. Also what language they speak.
Right.
Because a lion wasn't called a lion.
But here's the other thing. No offense to worship leaders out there.
None taken.
I think many people think like in eternity, they're like, am I going to get bored just singing worship songs for the rest of my life for eternity? I'm like, well, yeah, if that's your definition of worship, but I don't think that's what God means when he says we're going to be worshiping in eternity. If work is worship, we are going to continue to be co-laborers with Christ.
Also, a whole other side conversation is there's no time in eternity.
Right, exactly.
So you can't even wrap your mind around forever.
Right. You can't wrap your mind
around
forever.
Because we are so time constrained.
We are created in his image, and just the fact that we were created. So we're created in a creator's image, so that means we will continue to create. That's what we were made to do. And so yes, you can take a lot of the headaches out of work, but there's still work to be done even in a perfect world. In the afterlife, there's going to be work that needs to be done. And so the co-labor thing, it's really fascinating. So we're in Colossians, but I actually want to look at Romans chapter 12, verse 1 for just a moment. I know you want to go back to Colossians and talk about a couple verses here, but this is really foundational for Paul in his theology. If you go to Romans chapter 12, verse 1, therefore I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, or a living sacrifice is holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. So that word worship is really fascinating. So I was like, okay, I want to look up some of this stuff because living sacrifice, it means holistic. It means that, okay, that's all encompassing. So what does that word worship mean? It's latreia is the Greek word.
Okay.
Latreia.
So I'm a latreia leader.
Yeah. So if you look up latreia, it's really fascinating what it means. It means work only unto the Lord. Work is worship.
That's cool.
It is work that is set aside only to God. It's like a servant to its master.
Nice.
So a latreia kind of theology is the work is worship kind of deal. It's the priestly service to God. So if your life is a living sacrifice, you're sacrificing it back to your Creator. And so you cannot compartmentalize, I work a 9 to 5 and I volunteer at church and I coach my son's baseball game and you can't compartmentalize. It's just all latreia. Yeah. It's just all of it.
That's cool.
And so I even changed my lock screen on my phone I really want to be able to internalize what does that word mean?
Yeah, I love that.
Latreia. Like how do we get to that place of we're hearing noises?
Someone's sawing something, or there's a weird animal in our church. First, I thought
think
it was a
it's-
motorcycle.
I think it's the basement,
Oh, they're working on the basement.
the ELC stuff.
Oh, update.
Update, yeah.
They're working on it.
Yeah. I also like squirrels. I have a squirrel mind. But yeah, that whole Latreia thing, we talked about it a little bit on Sunday.
It's also a good kid name for anybody having a kid soon.
Yeah.
Latreia.
Brown.
Doesn't have 4 letters.
Yeah, doesn't have 4 letters. It kind of sounds like Lecrae.
Yeah.
Latreia.
Girl version.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I want to go back to Colossians, but
Yes.
it's very specific. You know, that's kind of what Colossians is talking about is, hey, we're worshiping things that we shouldn't be worshiping. We're giving a lot of clout to things we shouldn't be giving clout to. These are false gods. This is a false gospel.
Yeah.
And so we will trust Jesus with our eternity, but we give our work our identity. And that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Christ should be we should trust Christ with our eternity, and he is our identity.
That's good.
Not our career.
Yeah, because you will worship something, period. We were created to be worshipers.
Yeah.
And if your focus isn't on the Lord, it will be driven to something else.
Right.
So that's why I love this whole all-encompassing thing. We're giving our whole selves, Romans 12:1. We just read it, living sacrifices. But that's why I love Colossians 2:6 and 7 so much, because I feel like it goes right along with it. It's like part 2 of Romans 12:1, and that's like my life verse. But this is one that goes along with it. So then, just as you've received Christ as Lord, so you've done that, you've become a Christian, follower of Jesus, continue to live your lives in Him. How? Being rooted and built up in Him, strengthened in the faith as you were taught, and part 3, overflowing with thankfulness. That's a beautiful, if you want like a life verse challenge, this is how I'm going to strive to live. Boom. Be rooted and built up in Him, be strengthened in the faith as you were taught, and overflowing with thankfulness. That is a worshiper. Thanksgiving is a huge part of worship, because you can't be thankful and be selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And so much of being a worshiper is being humble and acknowledging the Savior as who He is. And that's why I love the Bible talks so much about what it means to be thankful. And I think if we learn how to be more thankful, you're automatically, it's that attitude and perspective thing. If you have that perspective and attitude of Christ, is being thankful is a huge part of that. So I feel like this is just so linked with Romans. It's like almost the same guy wrote it.
Mm-hmm. So, someone thinks so. Yeah, it is fascinating how his theology just spills into all of his different letters to the different churches and different communities. But it's interesting. How do you know someone's thankful? How do you know? Like that's an internal, intimate thing.
Mm-hmm. It can come out in behavior
it can,
and
but,
verbiage.
But what would that mean is that you're close in proximity to, but it's really hard to see thankfulness from a distance. Mm-hmm. But the same is true about rooted. Just because a tree is really tall does not mean the roots are good. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean they're healthy. Oftentimes there's going to have to be some type of tension or storm that comes to test the roots. Mm-hmm. So it is fascinating as you're talking about thankfulness. It's not just an overflowing with thankfulness. It's not just I have enough.
I have reached my level of being thankful today.
Right. It's like you bump into me and it's just gonna spill out.
Yeah.
But the cup is still full because it's overflowing in the sense of that. So that's really, really fascinating. It's the attitude perspective piece.
Yep.
But also the freedom. Like there's a freeing thing to know I'm not working for God's approval. I'm working from the approval. It's a priestly thing. Once again, that Latreia word it's priestly. It's this worship of a priest, but we're also called priest, which is bizarre. It's
super. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we have separated words and worlds unintentionally, I think, in some degree, of secular and sacred. But we're not meant to live that way.
Yeah.
But the hard thing is particularly pastors, I think the church has a hard time understanding the laborer because we spend so much time in the sacred, and the 9 to 5 people who work at, factories or in a school or whatever, they're oftentimes in the secular so much. And so how do you look at a life that's holistic? How do I see, even if I hate my job, how do I see it as Latreia?
Yeah. One of my first jobs out of college was working at a church plant, and they couldn't afford to pay me very much, so I had to get another job.
What'd you
So
do?
my other job was mowing grass at a golf course,
You
which
probably
was awesome.
Love that.
I loved it.
Did you get free golf?
I did. All my friends loved me too because I could fill up a foursome. Here's the funny thing was, a lot of that environment, there was a rough crowd of guys that worked in that shop. They learned what I did and was a pastor, and so they apologized to me all the time when they used bad language or something. I'm like, bro, I'm not the judge, number one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge you. You don't have to change it. But it was always an interesting dynamic for me that people felt like they needed to change their behavior because of who they were around. Yeah. And I'm like, well, what made them feel guilty about that? We could delve into this in a whole other podcast, but
so it is interesting how different pastors deal with it too. And I'm not going to call anyone out, but you also see other churches or other pastors that will go too far, and they are so topical in the way that they preach and teach and their programs that it's almost behaviorism, and it has nothing to do with being rooted in Scripture. So that's not what I'm talking about.
Yes,
I'm not asking the church to be more secular in the sense of how we worship and practice. What I'm asking is that we see it holistically, that we don't just leave Sunday on the shelf. If it can't leave the sanctuary, how is it ever, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, how is it ever going to make it into the courtroom? Yeah. Like if we can't take it out of here, what's the point? Yeah. It's just this loop. It's this Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it's what verse 6 says. Continue to live your life in Him. That's based on your life, but you can also look at that based on your week.
Yeah.
Don't just live for Christ on Sunday. Continue to live in Him throughout every day.
Yeah, and so this past week on Sunday, we had a little fun talking about different theologies, the study of, right? But we're all doing studies of, and we all, like, whether you worship the one true God or you worship you're worshiping, like you said, you're worshiping everything. But I want to help people identify that you're subscribing to some theology. And so we went over a couple other theologies, one being guac theology. So kind of playing with, Chipotle a little bit.
I love Chipotle.
Yeah, me too. And don't get me wrong, I am the person that if I got a little bit extra, I'm going for the guacamole because I love their guacamole.
It's the best.
It is, but it is an add-on. It's extra. It's an upcharge. And so some people treat discipleship and their spirituality like guac. Where it's like, that costs something. I just want the basic package. Yeah. That's not how discipleship works.
I like that.
That's not how the church works. We don't get to pick and choose where I want my chicken bowl with brown rice, tortilla on the side, because I know I can do that. I don't want the upcharge. That's not how that works. So some people subscribe to that theology. Just give me the basics, but I can't do the add-on stuff right now.
Yep. That's too much for my budget.
That's too much. It's either it's all or nothing, right? It's you can't have the guac theology. The other theology that's really dangerous is what I call Garfield theology. So if you ever read, so my grandparents, they used to wrap our Christmas presents in comics. Instead of wrapping paper, they would wrap it in the comics. And so Garfield was one of my favorites. But if you ever read Garfield, one of the biggest things is the writer would always make fun of Mondays. Like it was just a big deal, like Monday this, Monday that, like hate Mondays. And I think sometimes we have Garfield theology in the sense where it's such a drag. Yeah. If Adam and Eve just wouldn't have sinned in the garden, then I would just be swinging on a hammock somewhere, chilling by the beach. you know what? I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what an eternity looks like.
Yep.
And so for us just to be a Garfield who wants to consume and sit and complain about Monday, my alarm's going off again, I hate this job, my boss never sees me, I think that's a you problem.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of that is attitude, perspective, come back to you. But having a little fun with it, I'm hoping that we can begin to seize, like, do I have a guac theology? Do I have a Garfield theology?
That's good.
It's
Think about that.
It needs to be latreia. It needs to be holistic worship to the King. That's what it needs to be about.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, sidebar, Garfield's favorite food.
Lasagna.
That guy knew what he was talking about. It's one of
I
the
will give him
greatest-
that. What's the dog?
foods.
Otis?
Odie.
Odie.
You were close.
Yeah.
Where's the writer of Garfield from?
Jim Davis.
Muncie.
From,
Close.
Oh.
I have no idea.
Gas City, Indiana.
Oh.
It's
We're
like
full of
one
trivia
town
today.
over
yeah.
from Indiana Wesleyan, and they have Garfield statues everywhere.
There's a field trip for you and your family
There
today.
you
And
go.
then
Extra
when you're out,
knowledge.
get some lasagna. Hey, thanks for joining us today. It's a little bit more with Pastor Kevin. We'll see you again next week.
See you guys. Have a good one.
Later.